I'm Christina and welcome to At Home with House of Puff. Cannabis brownies are one of the most popular types of edibles. And why wouldn't they be? They're gooey, delicious, and in just over an hour, they'll have you feeling great too. But making your own edibles at home can be a little intimidating. That's why I'm going to give you the recipe for the best cannabis brownies ever. Cannabis brownies are actually some of the easiest edibles to make, especially if you have access to ready-made canna butter or cannabis oil. But if you don't have either on hand, that's okay too. Just check out our video on how to make canna butter in 5 easy steps, linked in the description below. Plus, we just published super helpful interactive edibles calculators to make sure you get the dosing right every time. Click here to give them a try. Now let's get to baking. There's no shame in just going with a box mix. But if you really want to indulge in all senses of the word, I'm going to show you how to skip the mix and make our molten chocolate cannabis brownies from scratch. To start, let's get all the ingredients together. You'll need 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 3/4 cup of cocoa powder, 3/4 cup of brown sugar, 1 1/3 cup of castor sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 3 large eggs, 1 1/3 cup or 4.5 ounces of dark chocolate chips, unsalted butter, and cannabis butter. Check the link to the full recipe in the description below. And if you're able, don't substitute regular sugar for castor sugar. Castor sugar is a specialty ingredient that makes the top of our brownies perfectly crisp while the molten center stays gooey. So let's get started. First, preheat your oven to 325 degrees. Then we're gonna lightly grease our 8-inch square baking dish with MCT oil. And then we're going to line it with non-stick baking paper. Okay, now let's talk butter. This is literally the only complicated thing about making cannabis brownies, or really any edible. That's determining how much cannabis butter or oil to include. Of course, we don't want anyone taking unexpected trips to another dimension on our watch. And to make sure you don't, this step involves some seriously tricky math. And I mean seriously tricky, like factoring the mass of butter. Had I realized, I would have paid more attention in math class, but yikes, who knew? All right, so anyway, you don't have to stress about it anymore because we have created an incredibly easy calculator that does all the hard math for you. And if you missed the link for it below, we put it down in the description as well. If you need help with it, we also made a video explaining exactly how it works. Check it out at the end of this video. Our brownie recipe calls for a total of 13 tablespoons of butter, and we want each brownie to have approximately 5 milligrams of THC. So I'm using 10 tablespoons of my cannabis butter to achieve that, and 3 tablespoons of the uninfused butter to make sure we have exactly what the recipe calls for. Since the potency of cannabis butter varies, you'll need to use our calculator to figure out how much cannabis butter you need to use. Now in a heat-safe bowl, melt both of your butters together in your oven. Be careful to keep the heat super low so that the moisture in it doesn't cook off. When it's almost fully melted, remove it from the heat and just let your butter mixture cool. Just be careful not to let it harden all the way or it can clump up in your batter. With normal brownies, of course, that's no big deal, but with cannabis brownies, if they clump up, it could cause your cannabinoids from not being evenly distributed throughout all of your brownie. Then one brownie could be super potent, while the rest are very not potent at all, and nobody wants that. Okay, so in a separate mixing bowl, combine the flour, cocoa powder, both sugars, this delicious castor sugar, stop it. And then, the salt, some vanilla. Ooh, smells so good. Okay, and then you're just gonna wanna mix with a silicone spatula. Oh yeah, look at that. And you're really gonna wanna mix it well, so it's all combined. All right, so it's well combined. Now I'm gonna add the eggs. And we're just gonna combine this really well. So mix until it's well combined. Only then add in the melted butter. Keep mixing. It's got to be really well combined. Otherwise you risk the butter clumping up in the batter, and that's not good. Okay. All right, so that's mixed, and you'll notice that I'm not using a hand mixer because you don't want that precious can of butter getting stuck in, the paddles. So this is good to go. Now we're finally gonna fold in the chocolate chips. It's a lot of chocolate. Fold. It's like Schitt's Creek. It's like, how do you fold? This is how you fold. All right. Oh, this is so chocolatey. Okay, so we are folding, and then once this is combined, this looks pretty good. We are going to take our baking dish, spatula, and we're gonna spread it in. Just dump it all in. Oh, if you could smell what I am smelling. Oof. It's delicious. I want to get every bit from the bowl. That's why it's good using a silicone spatula, because you really get all the good stuff out. So you're going to just, again, spread it out, making sure you fill the corners of the dish. You can also use a small spatula like this one to help you clean off, but we're good to go. Again, silicone utensils are the best to get all the THC into your brownies instead of leaving it stuck on your spatula. We are almost there. So now we're gonna bake the brownies at 325 degrees for about 50 to 60 minutes or until they're set. All right, so I'm going to check mine now using the trick that my mom taught me to stick a toothpick into the top to see if it comes out clean or if there's too much batter clinging to it. All right, so we've let the pan cool down a little bit, and we've cut our brownies into beautiful 16 evenly sized squares. Serve them warm and dissolve them into delight. To make it even easier, follow the link in the description to download a recipe card for these fantastic molten chocolate cannabis brownies. Bon appetit, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again at Home with House of Puff. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. We'd especially love to hear any baking tips you have for varying our brownie recipes, so please share.